Hello, welcome to the Lunch and Chat with Leslie podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Parker. Thank you so much for tuning in to this live, informative, educational, and entertaining podcast that airs every Tuesday at 7 p.m. This innovative talk show, as I always say to you, was put together for you, the community, or anyone who wants to connect with me. Thank you for deciding to stop by tonight to watch this segment called Don't Allow Your Fear to Ruin Your Life. You know, fear is merely forcing everything available right out of your life. And God did not give us a spirit of fear, but He did give us a spirit of sound mind. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Life is worth living and it's fighting for. So please don't give up on God and don't give up on yourself. You are designed for greatness, toughness, recovery, strength, love, power, and self-love, and especially self-control. So just be aware and be mindful of how great you have been designed. And God did not put you on here for failure. There are different translations I want to go over with you. So pardon me, I will stop the music so you can hear me. But there are different translations that I want to go over with you. There are about 5 I want to talk to you about. The New International Version, when it says, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline, which I just mentioned. New Living Translation says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. The English Standard Version, for God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. So are you getting it? It doesn't matter about the translation. They are all very similar. So just keep in mind those words of not being afraid, having the power of love and self-discipline and self-control. King James Bible, for God have not given us the spirit of fear, but power and love and of a sound mind. And New King James Version says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So I could go on and on because there were different versions, but I just want you to just really think about it. You know, sometimes it's necessary to do a self-spiritual checkup. Would you agree? Just to find out who and what we believe in. If we don't, we will allow the spirit of fear, the self-doubt, the powerless, and the uneasiness to govern our lives. And that's not what we're here on earth to do. You know, Hamlet, I used to study Hamlet, and one of the poems that was written, William Shakespeare, was when he did the Hamlet play, the soliloquy, was essential about life and death. And is one thing that he would always say, to be or not to be, to live or not to live. And that's a choice that we have to make. Are we going to live in fear, or we're going to not live in fear? And I choose not to live in fear, although he talked about life and death. But, you know, there was the slings of outrageous arrows. And I'm going to just say just a little bit about Hamlet, because I remember this by heart when I was in school. To be or not to be, you know, that is the question, whether 'tis is noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them, to die to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we, the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that the flesh is air, 'tis is a consummation devoutly to be wished. So whatever it is that you wish upon or you're thinking about that you have to do, tonight's broadcast is going to go over some things, how you can overcome those fears. And I have 7 basic fear factors that I want to talk to you about. The first one, fear of success and failure. Then I'm going to talk to you about fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of sickness, fear of losing a loved one, and fear of aging. And last, but fear of death. But I'm going to go over a little bit about the fear of success and failure. So how many of us have had this fear of not succeeding or of failing? Well, believe it or not, it's not at the top of the list of the fears, but when we don't accomplish the things in life that we set out to do, we begin to feel failure. You know, your success should never be determined by others. You determine what success is within yourself. It's not the things of the world or the people in the world. You were placed on this earth to complete a mission, and that should be your focus. Discovering what you can do to make a difference and the impact or the legacy you leave behind. Fear of poverty. Now, if you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and I guess many of us have not been born with a silver spoon, then poverty should not be one of the things that you get down and depressed about. Because, you know, poverty is not permanent unless you make it permanent. Most of the time, poverty exists because of bigger systems, changing markets, demand for skills of labor, gaps in the social society nets, you know, things like that, the high cost of education and health, and because of a systemic discrimination, because of the environment, the average person will experience financial hardships. But that doesn't mean you can't bounce back. They are really just temporary setbacks. So devising a plan to get out of poverty is actually against the things that block you from moving forward. Poverty, it is associated with a whole host of health risks like heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, all those things that could really weigh you down. So just keep in mind, just there are different ways of getting out of, you don't have to stay in poverty and just soar, you know, find other avenues to get yourself back on top where you used to be. Then there's fear of criticism. Oh, man, I don't know about you, but I have had enough criticism throughout my life, but I never let it get the best of me. And the best way, believe it or not, to handle criticism is not to react to it. Instead, control your reaction. Try not to take it personally. Process the criticism first. Give yourself some grace and show appreciation, show humility, and apologize conservatively. But don't dwell on that criticism. Please don't. And then there's the fear of sickness. Now, there are a lot of people that probably say, well, I've never been sick. I pretty much have been very healthy. But there's some of us out there that do have health issues. And we're just fearful of whether or not we'll get better. So I'm here tonight to tell you that you just need to focus on recovery. Keep your eye on the prize. You know that God has better things for you, and God did not give you the spirit of fear. So remember that. Then we have fear of losing loved ones. Is this going to happen? Yes, absolutely. Have we lost loved ones? Of course we have. But you know what? I have a slide that I'm going to share with you that's going to really connect you to what we can do to overcome that fear of losing loved ones. And then there's the fear of old age. Oh, I'm going to go over this with you because a lot of us are very fearful of getting old. And I came across this article by this lady. Her name is Carolyn Tuttle. And she talks about, she's a best-selling author of Overcoming Aging. So they're just like a couple points I'm going to talk to you about. The first one she says is to say your age, you know, whatever age you're at. Like I'm 60 and I'm 100% love and appreciate myself. So begin to say it out loud. Yes, state your age. Get comfortable with referencing it as a simple fact. She says it does not have any bearings on your value because your value is innate and it cannot be diminished. That's a great point, Carol. And then she says, number two, to say something like, I'm creating a new healthy belief and perception about aging. You have to empower yourself to learn new things. You are not stuck in the ways or ways that you used to have, or, you know, don't get stuck with not being able to learn new technology. Because I know I hear that a lot. I remember my mother said, well, I can't do this, you know, the phone, but guess what? My mother's on Facebook now, and she's 83 years old. Kudos to you, Mom, if you're watching. And she says, growing older is always going to happen. So she says, say things like that. I'm grateful that I can choose to create how I age. So you don't have to worry about being judged. Don't judge yourself for your age. Matter of fact, it's a blessing if we get to live a certain age. She said, I'm aging positively. Say things like that. I love how I look the older I get. Number 6, I'm making choices with my diet, my exercise, the self-care, and my beliefs that create the positive aging experience. So if there are any changes that you have to make with yourself, then do those things. And then she says, I'm financially setting myself up for success as I age. Am I there? No, I don't know if you're there, but it's not too late to do it. She said, you can start anytime. So today is a good day to start. She says, of course, it's better to be in a solid financial place at a younger age, but you shouldn't be hung up on that. So you need to start thinking about comfort. Make those choices in line where you want to be. She said, I'm free to create my own aging experience, different from my parents. I'm grateful for my healthy skin and beautiful face that even though I'm aging. And she says, number 10, finally, I'm aware of what I'm choosing and doing that is prematurely aging me and making changes to shift this. Isn't that great? I just thought that was a great article. And then there's the thing that I talked about death. You know, people have a fear of death. Well, according to Trinity affirmations, you know, the natural tense, say to yourself, my life is full. Others see me as a carefree person. My fear of death is gone. Thinking of death is no big deal. I'm naturally at peace with it. I embrace the cycle of life and have a fearless and joyful attitude towards life. So being carefree and just being natural and going about your life every day is very important. But what I would like to do for you now, I want to show you this beautiful it's a beautiful presentation that I put together. Yes, because I did it. It's beautiful. But I think you're going to enjoy it. So give me a second. I'm going to share it with you. All right. And hopefully you can see this. Okay, hopefully you can see it. I'm going to make it bigger if possible. Okay. So this slide right here I put together because I wanted you to really learn how to embrace fear. You see the first part here, it says strength, courage, and wisdom. We need to learn to make peace of mind your priority, and don't allow fear, as I mentioned, to ruin your life. So I'm going to give you the slideshow. Come on. All right, bear with me 1 second. It should go. All right, hold on. I'm getting there. All right, there we go. All right, so my biggest thing, the first slide I have here is overcome failure. Face it, accept it, learn from it, grow from it, and move on. But this right here, fear of success and failure, that was one of the basic fear factors that I mentioned to you. If you see some of the things here, you see the person leaping over to success. You know, you have those gaps that we have to bridge. And yes, there is a huge gap that's between failure and success. You can choose how you want to be successful. Either you can stay on the failure side or you can choose to be successful. And the second little picture here, it says failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. So, you know, when you have moments where you failed, don't look at that as being a failure. You are getting ready to succeed. That's what that means. And here you have roads. You see a road is going this way and a road going to the right and to the left. Those are decisions that we make about failure and success. So I'm not going to give you all of these, but I want to give you some affirmations of failure. You know, you have to say these things to yourself if you can every day. Say, I'm fearless. You know, I take action now. I am liberated from fear of failure. I'm confident. I am determined. I keep pushing until I succeed. I stay persistent. Even when faced with failure, I accept the challenges with enthusiasm and confidence. I embrace failure and make it stronger and make it strong by it. I always take action without hesitation or fear. That's for the failure part. But now I want to talk to you about criticism. You know, it's kind of hard to succeed when people are coming at you, they're criticizing you, or they're putting you down. You don't have to accept that. You can overcome this criticism easily. You decide how you're going to overcome it. But I want you to know that you can say to yourself that you are powerful, that you can say I am a contribution to others by being my authentic self. I'm beautiful and lovable just as I am. I love the person who I am, and I am worthy of receiving love and can care, and I care for myself like I care for others. Overcoming sickness. That was another one that I mentioned to you, the fear. We all go through some sort of sickness, but you don't have to stay there. So always say to yourself, I'm here for you always. Even if you know someone that's sick, please say these words to them. Let them know that you're here for them always, that you're stronger, and that you say things braver than you know, what's on your mind, having those open discussions with people. And just say, I'm so grateful for you. When you tell someone that's even sick that you're grateful for them, do you know what that can do? What that can empower them to do? And it can empower you too when you're going through something. And then I have overcoming losing a loved one. I'm not going to read all of these things to you, but, allow yourself to feel the grief that you have. But recognize your painful moments that you have. But also know that when you lose loved ones, I've thought about this, is that I love this one right here. It says, be the things your loved ones that you love most about the people who are gone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being as powerful, as fearless, and everything that I can be for the loved ones that I no longer have around me. And I talked to you about the Trinity. I'm not going to bring that up, but I want you to know that, let me stop sharing for a second here. There we go. So hopefully you see. Okay. I want you to know that fear is something that we get used to if we allow it to happen to us every day. So please stop being fearful. I know that we'll have some comments here, and I want to hear your comments to hear what you feel about it. Good evening. Hi, Gail. How are you doing? I always show my guests that decide to join me. Good evening, Gail. I'm glad you did tune in to this segment. I thought that was very important because I talk to my friends every day, and Gail and I, we talk about different things. It's a discussion that people should have with one another. And I want you to know that as long as we have each other, we shouldn't have fear. So don't fear anymore. I mean, it's a natural process, but try not to have this fear anymore. Then I have a good friend of mine, Sheila Hall. Good evening, Sheila. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Sheila is another person that I speak to on a daily basis. We share our aspirations and things that we would like to do, things that we would like to get done in life, and even where we are. We even sometimes joke about our age. Girl, I can't believe that I'm, that age. But you know what? We've learned to embrace life, and I hope you learn to embrace life as well. And another friend that I have, Donetta Mooring. Good evening, Donetta. Yeah, she's another person that, I thank all these ladies because they've been part of retreats that I've given in the past, and I can see how they've grown and developed and turned out to be really successful women, with their businesses. So thank you, Donetta, for always supporting me. And I have baby girl here. We have Kelly Brunson. She's saying hello to everyone. And I see Sheila. See what we do? She said hi. Oh, look at my sister. Can you enlarge the slides? I'm sorry. I'll do that the next time. I didn't see the message. And I thank you too, BFF. I hope you enjoyed the segment tonight. It definitely talked about just overcoming fear, being powerful, having that self-confidence and determination, because we all need it. If I can rub your back and scratch your back, or whatever you need me to do, lift you up, elevate you, you can always get that at the Lunch and Chat with Leslie show. And I hope that you will tune in next week. I will let you know what I plan on doing next week. But meanwhile, take care and you have a great evening.